Welcome back, guys. Browns Film Breakdown coming at you from the defensive side of the ball this time. Welcoming back Coach Bentley. How you doing, Coach?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Good, good. We're going to dive in. Going to look at Thursday night's win over the Jets, 21-17. Defense obviously played well. There was one aspect of the game that they did not play well in, and that was the screen game. So we are going to take a look at this. Is something that caused them some issues just last year. Screen game, catching Greg Williams' defense in blitz situations in the second level. Taking a look at early in the game, Jets haven't moved the ball very much. Second down, haven't really broke through for anything positive, punting back and forth. Jets are running 3-by-1. This is Robbie Anderson here, kind of switched out in 11 personnel with Chris Herndon. They have Chris Herndon lined up at the X, traditionally lines up, so you have Jabril Peppers manned up over here. Browns are really in a solid neutral position defensively. Two linebackers here. They got Ward, who was shadowing Robbie Anderson earlier in the game, lined up on Anderson here in the slot. You have TJ Carey as well lined up here. They're in a good spot for this situation. So we'll play it just a little bit, and then I'm going to call on Coach Bentley here to kind of give us an idea of what went wrong. So, they're going to catch this. They're going to sneak out the center and guard. It's commonplace. You encourage this play side defensive end. The tackle will pass that, encourage him upfield, get rid of the ball quickly. He actually goes to cut Myles Garrett here, which is a wise move for a quick throw. And at this juncture right here, they're in a decent spot. Coach, what are you kind of telling your defensive backs, linebackers, when they find themselves here? It's obviously two defensive backs. When they find themselves here, coaching points for where this play is bottled.
Well, if you take it back a little bit, Jake, there, Carey being in man coverage, I think man coverage first and foremost can be a very good thing against screens. Carey, I would coach him up, say, hey, look, you got to attack that and stay outside by alignment because, one, you are outside of, speaking of, Denzel Ward right here, inside on number 3, that if you keep – it's just like tackling. You tackle in the cylinder, you want to attack that near hip. And so if Carey stays outside, Ward stays inside, this play is done and over with, and we go to the next down.
Some discourse Coach and I had before we looked at this clip was at this juncture right here as TJ Carey is approaching, as Carey obviously is approaching the threat of this ball being caught, what's his mind thinking at this very moment? And I think that what he's probably fearing and why he gets trapped inside is commonplace for coordinators is they're going to run this play to kind of stem back to the quarterback and then what we call tunnel it up inside, okay? So this tunnel here is helped by a clear out block by your guard and what's called a cleanup for any threat by your center. So he's fearing something coming from the inside in terms of pressure here. So that leads him to chase inside, although, common knowledge would say steering him back inside gives players like Joe Schobert right here a chance. Backside pursuit from Jamie Collins, who seems a little bit delayed in his reaction, but it gives him a better chance. So we don't get that here. We do get two guys who are probably favoring inside just a little bit too much, and that causes some issues in leverage. They have a chance. Coach kind of walk us through here. They do have a chance to make a play, although you see an exchange right here that happens. Anderson's able to just quickly exchange from Ward to Carey. But we'll get a better look at the end zone. But, they're in decent shape.
Denzel takes over almost. He's a step late, and that's what makes the missed tackle. But, you said it. They essentially switched roles. One of the biggest mantras I ever learned and coached with defense and said with defense is do your job. So that tunnel screen, he's not going to get to it. He's lined up over the number 2 receiver. He's an outside type player. The only guy outside of him is the overall official corner on number 1. But your job is to be that outside type player, attack that outside hip, force that ball back in, and let the Joe Schobert come downhill, take the tunnel, let the Jamie Collins of the world linebacker level take that play.
Absolutely. And you'd like to see Ward not slow the feet right there, just shoot through the legs, kind of slows the feet, and then that moment that he pauses, loses leverage, and he's outside. So that play wasn't critical in terms of points on the board. It did get a long Jets drive going. The Jets really hadn't had much success at that point, but was kind of a precursor for things to come. So this is the next one that causes the Browns some trouble. On 3rd and 4, Jets are threatening the red zone on a scoring drive here. They're just outside it. You get a stop in this situation. You hold the Jets to a long field goal attempt. I want to draw close attention to the formation. Jets are going to motion Isaiah Crowell out of the backfield. It's going to tell your quarterback what coverage you're getting. It's going to clear things up. It's early on in this, guys. As a quarterback, you're thinking no second-level threat. My running back is out of the backfield. That's going to unfold coverage some. Schobert chases him. That's clear man-to-man indicator. So as a quarterback, I'm seeing 3 over 3, 2 over 2, single high safety, walked up edge pressure. Obviously Garrett is already an edge guy. They're kind of sliding here. They're playing a sort of a pseudo bear front with 2-3 techniques and a zero nose. So this is an ideal call for a coordinator in this situation, as an offensive coordinator, that you can go to a quick screen and try to get back up inside after this pressure clears this first level. So, you got a tandem here. Like I said, you got a sort of triangle going on here. So walk me through, Coach. You have these two defenders. You have TJ Carey. You have Ward once again, who's down pressed. Kind of thought process for your DBs. What are their indicators here? What are what are you telling them if this situation happens? And we're going to see it's a problem. It leads to a problem.
Yeah.
But, you walk me through that.
Well, again, man-to-man coverage, just like last time. But again, it's where you're lined up. So TJ Carey's outside. He's got to keep that leverage. He's an outside-in type of player, even as this play develops, as the film rolls. Denzel is the inside leverage kind of guy. And so it's completely reversed from last time, that they both now attack outside. And as you said, Jake, that there's nobody in the box at linebacker level that's so imperative that those two guys out there, we're in an okay situation, but if Denzel comes inside, Carey comes outside, this play is shot, and we don't have to worry about not having those second-level defenders.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of times discussion that folks have who follow Greg Williams' defenses, he is aggressive by nature, and it does lead to some voids in your defense. This is one of them. And people will call for defensive linemen to be able to stop, pivot, and run this down, chase it down laterally. Explain to the folks why that's challenging as a defensive lineman, Coach.
Speaking from personal experience, screens are some of the toughest things to practice, especially as a D lineman. I mean, yeah, you can do the drills, but you think of your varsity team, your first team defense, or your prep team, whatever you call it. You're going up against a scout team in practice all week, generally speaking. And those guys, I mean, you're beating them normally, just a normal pass set, you're beating them. And then they show you a screen and it really doesn't look any different because you are that, junior or senior going up against freshmen, sophomores, or whatever. That are on the scout team. So it's a tough thing to react. To me, if you can get the D linemen to read that, see that, keep their feet off of a cut, and get their hands up, anything like that, that's a bonus. That's absolutely a bonus.
And they really do need to, on the perimeter, work it. And I know they're being cut here, and the Jets do a nice job of cutting Miles both times, or at least attempting to, and slowing his height down. Because, you can see – he's getting his thigh driven into. It's really tough to get your hands up because you have to protect your lower body to an extent.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, and it is.
That's all it takes.
And it's a great – and the Jets run it well. I mean, they ran it well. But as you guys can see, you never want two guys chasing outside because, these two Jet interior offensive linemen have nobody to block. It's that wide open.
They're going to lose leverage, and they do, and you can see it. They've got those two blockers in front. Thankfully, they recover, and whoever was the safety, whether it was Randall or Kindred or whomever – it slows it down and makes the tackle. Yeah, good pursuit and all, but yeah.
It actually looks like it ended up being Peppers.
It's Peppers.
Yeah.
It's Peppers.
They're moving him a little bit everywhere. Okay, so, as the Jets have become comfortable with what the Browns are giving them all game, it's now 3rd and 8, biggest moment in the game, 14-14. First Energy Stadium's momentum is completely swung in the Browns' favor coming off that 2-point conversion. The Jets mount a really nice drive to start the fourth quarter. So it's 3rd and 8. This almost looks identical field position, just a couple yards back. Guess what they go to 3rd and 8?
Will repeat successful plays.
Yes, exactly. They run the exact same thing. The Browns give them what? The exact same look. It almost looks like a duplicated play. I promise you it is not. So in this situation, the only difference we get, is you are going to get Jamie Collins instead of rushing off this edge. They drop him. Okay, so the Browns are actually in a better position on this play. They're going to drop Collins, and this should be 3 over 2, and actually it should be 2 men tackling one guy with one blocker in the way. That's the ideal way this play should shape out. It should be the Jets kicking a field goal after this play. So that's not what happens. Let's kind of cover why. So Collins is going to stab the foot, retreat, sell quick blitz, stab the foot, retreat, right? Jets are going to do the same thing. They're running mirror concept, which means you're mirroring it on both sides. You can throw it either way. Darnold decides to go right. Some OCs give their quarterback leeway to throw it whatever way he wants. He chooses the right side. Okay. At this point, the problem is, Coach, walk me through it.
It's leverage. It's understanding up top at corner, I guess, if you want to call it that, even though they're in man coverage. It's understanding outside leverage, inside leverage. And now with Jamie Collins to build in, he's got to think, hey, I'm an inside type player. I've got inside leverage. I'm going to force it to my near next guy or attack the near hip. One of the things I think is important too is he doesn't want to get mixed up with this big offensive lineman, big hog molly, whatever you want to call him. So attack that lineman as it starts to develop and then dip and rip off his behind. Because that Jamie Collins is quicker, more athletic than an offensive guard or tackle, and that guy's not ready to block him. Can't adjust to Jamie dipping and ripping inside, and if that happens, those three happen, then again, there's no play.
Yep. So as you guys will see from the end zone view, it is once again three guys pursuing outside. This time three instead of two, pursuing outside, and when you have three guys losing run fit, I mean, it's just fit. It's just staying in a lane, understanding leverage like Coach said. I mean, this play, when you have Jamie Collins already turned running outside, two guys, once again, I promise you, these are not the same play, stacked up once again, it is easy. It is gold for an offense, and it's why the Browns gave up some key plays here. Yeah, so there's no doubt that the Jets exposed a hole in the Browns' defense. I would hope the Browns spent a good majority of time in practice this week doing it because, with Carr and the Raiders, they have some weapons out there. They have, Jordy Nelson. They have Amari Cooper. I expect them to throw those guys, Martavis Bryant, the ball quickly, try to exploit this issue that the Browns were having. So, if you look at Sam Darnold's stat line, he threw for like 100 and some 60, 70 yards. You take away these quick screens, you take away about 50 yards of that, and it's an even better showing than they already put together. So it's pretty simple cleanup. Coach, I think that you could watch film on this, have a good feel for how to clean this issue up and kind of rectify heading into the next week. I don't think it shouldn't be a prolonged problem. I just think they had a bad night of staying disciplined. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something, we talked during the weekend, the long weekend, enjoyable weekend, of course, after a win. But, the idea of going where that screener is going to go, not where he is. And that's something that's hard to teach, but you've got to rep it. You got to practice it. And these guys are at the highest level. You'd hope to see a little bit better than this. But they had 10 days, so hopefully they can clean it up and go out to Oakland and get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a wrap, guys. Episode 14. Follow the YouTube channel if you can. Comment, do all that good stuff. If you're enjoying these, we'll try to keep coming at you from a defensive perspective. So back next week, look at the offense and defense one more time. And as usual, guys, go Browns.